If they love you, they will do this and ignore you, the hidden reason behind withdrawal. You thought they walked away because they stopped loving you. But what if their silence was love's loudest cry? What if the distance they created was not rejection, but reflection? In this video, we explore the hidden layers beneath withdrawal, silence, and emotional contradiction. Through the lens of depth psychology and inner awakening, you'll discover why people pull back when love feels too real, and how it often has nothing to do with you. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind emotional distance and help you reclaim your inner clarity. This is not just about heartbreak. It's about finding the part of you that was never lost, only waiting. Love, an emotional and contradictory paradox. Love has always been one of the most mysterious forces in human experience. It brings joy and connection, but also confusion and silence. One day you feel seen, valued, safe in someone's presence. The next, they grow distant without reason, ignoring your existence as if the bond was never there. Society tells us this distance means rejection. We are taught that love should be constant, expressive, and visible. So when someone pulls away, we panic. We blame ourselves. But what if the withdrawal is not a sign of detachment, but a reflection of something deeper? Human emotion does not follow a simple logic. Especially not love. According to depth psychology, love is not just a conscious choice but a mirror that reflects hidden parts of our psyche. Sometimes, when love touches a place too raw, too vulnerable, the instinctive response is not to move closer, but to retreat. The paradox lies in this: the more intense the love, the greater the fear. And that fear can cause even the most devoted soul to pull away. People often assume that love should be comfortable. But in truth, love often shakes the foundations we thought were solid. It forces us to question our own self-worth, to confront unresolved pain, to see ourselves without disguise. And not everyone is ready for that. When someone steps back, it might not be because they do not love, but because they do. Their silence may not be rejection, but protection. A way to cope with feelings too overwhelming to express. This is where we must begin to shift perspective. Love is not always loud. It is not always visible. Sometimes it whispers from behind a wall of fear, hoping to be understood without being chased. The subconscious, the forgotten piece in love. Love often feels like a conscious decision. An emotional response we can understand and explain. But much of what happens in love is shaped not by the surface of our minds, but by the deep layers beneath it. The subconscious, a part of us we rarely notice, holds the power to shape how we give and receive love. Carl Jung believed that the subconscious stores all that is unresolved, all that we suppress, fear, or deny. When we enter a deep emotional bond, this hidden world awakens. The subconscious carries old wounds from childhood, past relationships, and experiences we thought we had forgotten. These memories influence how we react in intimacy. A fear of abandonment rooted in childhood may make someone cling too tightly or push others away the moment they feel too close. A past betrayal may lead to distrust even when no danger is present. These reactions are not chosen. They arise from the patterns written in the subconscious long ago. What makes love complicated is that both people bring their inner histories into the relationship. When one person withdraws, it may not be because of the other's actions, but because their subconscious is being triggered. They are not rejecting love. They are reacting to something within themselves that love has awakened. This is why some people distance themselves at the moment the bond becomes more real. Their subconscious fears override their conscious desire to connect. To understand love deeply, we must recognize the subconscious as an active force. It is not a weakness to have wounds. What matters is whether we become aware of them and how we choose to respond. True love is not about perfect ion but awareness. When we know what lives inside us, we can love without letting fear make decisions for us. Awareness of the subconscious is the first step toward conscious connection. When loving too much becomes a defense mechanism. It may seem strange to think that love, something so beautiful, can trigger fear. But when a person has gone through deep emotional pain, the arrival of real love can feel dangerous. The mind does not always celebrate connection. Sometimes it prepares to protect. In moments when love reaches a certain depth, the subconscious may activate a defense mechanism. It tells the person to retreat, to disconnect, to run before it is too late. This reaction is not always conscious. The person may believe they are still in control, that they are simply taking space. But internally, they are protecting themselves from the fear of being seen too clearly, of being vulnerable. Love has the power to expose the parts of us we hide from the world. And for some, that exposure is unbearable. People who have been hurt in the past often build walls around their hearts. These walls are not just emotional habits. They are survival strategies. When love becomes too real, these walls rise again to shield the self from possible harm. The irony is that the more sincere the love, the more threatening it feels to someone who is used to emotional distance. So they create space. They pull back not because they want to hurt, but because they do not know another way to stay safe. This is not manipulation or cruelty. It is fear. A fear shaped by wounds that have not yet healed. Understanding this does not mean you must tolerate distance forever. But it helps you see that sometimes, when someone withdraws, it is not about losing love. It is about their struggle to hold it. Defense mechanisms are not signs of failure. They are signs of pain. And beneath that pain, love may still be waiting, quietly hoping to be safe enough to stay. The inner conflict between desire and fear. Love awakens a longing for closeness. We want to be seen, to be held. To be understood by someone who feels like home. But at the same time, love exposes us. It brings our insecurities to light and challenges the walls we have built to protect ourselves. This creates a powerful internal conflict. One part of us wants intimacy. Another part fears the loss of control that intimacy brings. This tension between desire and fear lives within many people. They crave connection but are overwhelmed by the vulnerability it requires. Letting someone in means risking rejection, disappointment, or abandonment. Even when the relationship feels safe, the mind can replay old memories that whisper warnings. It says this is too much, too soon, too dangerous. So they hesitate. They pull back just when things begin to deepen. This is not always a choice made with awareness. The person may truly want the relationship to grow. But fear speaks louder than reason. The heart may lean in, while the body withdraws. Words say one thing, actions say another. This contradiction is not hypocrisy. It is the voice of a nervous system trying to protect itself from pain it once knew too well. Understanding this dynamic allows us to stop taking things personally. When someone you love sends mixed signals, it might not be because they are playing games. It may be because their inner world is divided. To love deeply is to face not only your hopes but your fears. It is a journey of inner integration. True connection begins when both parts, the one that desires and the one that fears, are acknowledged and gently brought together without judgment. Don't chase, learn to understand and let go at the right time. When someone you love begins to distance themselves, the instinct is often to chase. We want to fix what feels broken. To close the gap, to hold on before they disappear completely. But this reaction, though human, can deepen the divide. The more we push, the more the other person feels pressured. And pressure rarely invites healing. It usually reinforces fear. People withdraw for many reasons, most of which have little to do with us. Their silence may be a response to their own inner turmoil. They may be trying to regain control over emotions that feel too big. When we try to force close scenes during that moment, we may unintentionally confirm their fear that love equals loss of self. The healthiest response is not to chase but to pause. To respect the space they are asking for, even if they cannot say it directly. This pause is not weakness. It is a form of strength. It requires trust in yourself and the bond you shared. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means creating space for clarity, both for them and for you. In that silence, you can reflect on your own needs and boundaries. You can ask what you truly want. A love that must be chased or a love that can stand still and grow. If someone walks away, they must do so freely. And if they return, it should be because they choose to. Not because they were pulled back by fear or guilt. Love is not a cage. It is an invitation. An open hand, not a closed fist. When you stop chasing, you give both of you the chance to meet again. Not as rescuers or victims, but as people who have faced themselves. Letting go, in the right moment, is not the end of love. Sometimes, it is the beginning of a deeper one. True love is freedom, not control. Many people grow up believing that love must be proven through presence, constant attention, and ongoing reassurance. But real love does not thrive under pressure. It does not demand possession or control. Instead, it grows in an atmosphere of respect and inner freedom. When we try to hold on too tightly to someone we care about, we often create the very distance we fear. True love is not about holding someone in place. It is about allowing them to choose you again and again without force. To love someone truly is to accept that they are not yours. They are not an extension of your needs or your expectations. They are a person with their own inner world struggles and timing. When you respect their space and honor their growth, you give the relationship space to evolve naturally. This is the love that breathes. The love that trusts. Control is rooted in fear. The fear of loss, the fear of change, the fear of being left behind. But fear creates tension, and tension pushes people apart. When love becomes a contract of constant romance, it loses its depth. It becomes something fragile and dependent. But when love is free, when it is chosen, not forced, it becomes powerful. It has the strength to withstand distance and the depth to endure silence. Freedom in love does not mean indifference. It means trust. It means letting go of the need to manage every outcome and allowing life to unfold. When two people choose each other from a place of inner fullness, not emotional scarcity, the connection becomes grounded. It becomes less about needing and more about sharing. Real love is a sanctuary, not a prison. It invites rather than demands. It welcomes rather than restricts. And in that space of openness, the most beautiful and lasting bonds can grow. If they don't come back, that's the lesson you needed. Sometimes the person who walks away is not meant to return. And as painful as that truth may feel, it carries a gift. Love is not always about keeping someone. It is also about learning what that connection revealed in you. We often measure love by how long it lasts or whether it ends in commitment. But the deeper meaning of love lies in how it transforms us. When someone leaves, especially when the bond felt real, we question everything. Was it not enough? Did I do something wrong? Could I have changed the outcome? These questions are natural, but they keep you trapped in a cycle of self-blame. The more powerful question is, what did this experience awaken in me? What wound did it touch? What part of me is now asking to be seen and healed? People enter our lives for many reasons, and not all of them are meant to stay. Some come to mirror our fears, to challenge our beliefs, or to show us how deeply we are capable of feeling. Their absence can hurt, but it creates space. In that space we have the opportunity to meet ourselves more honestly. If they don't come back, it does not mean the love was not real. It means the purpose of that connection has already been served. The pain of their absence can become the doorway to a deeper self-understanding. It can reveal your patterns, your expectations, and your capacity to love even without guarantee. The lesson is not about how to keep someone. It is about how to remain open even after loss. To trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. And to believe that every ending carries the S.E. ed of a new beginning, not with them perhaps, but with yourself. Inner projection: you are not the problem. When someone distances themselves from you, it is natural to search for reasons within yourself. You wonder if you said too much, not enough, or something wrong altogether. This inward questioning often leads to guilt, confusion, and self-doubt. But the truth is, not every withdrawal is a reflection of your worth. Many times it is about what the other person is struggling with internally. You are not always the reason for their silence. Carl Jung described projection as the act of placing one's own hidden fears and unresolved emotions onto another person. When someone feels overwhelmed by parts of themselves they cannot face, I project those feelings outward. Love, especially deep love, has a way of activating the parts of us we usually avoid. Instead of facing those emotions, some people turn away, and the person they distance from becomes the symbol of their discomfort. In these moments it is important to remember this distance is not a judgment on who you are. It is a reflection of the emotional battle they are fighting within. You may simply be the mirror that them see too much. And rather than confront their pain, they chose space. This does not mean your presence was a mistake. Sometimes the intensity of connection brings clarity that not everyone is ready for. When someone pulls away, they are not always leaving you. Sometimes they are fleeing from themselves. And what you awakened in them was too powerful to hold. Knowing this allows you to reclaim your sense of self. You can stop trying to fix what was never broken in you. You can stop absorbing blame that was never yours to carry. You can choose to stand in your truth, knowing that love does not always equal staying, and distance does not always mean rejection. True love will lead you back to yourself. We often think of love as something that binds us to another. But the most powerful love does not pull us away from ourselves. It brings us home. When love is real, it does not ask you to lose who you are. It invites you to remember. To return to your essence. Sometimes this return happens through connection. Other times it happens through separation. When someone leaves your life, the silence they leave behind is not empty. It echoes with questions you were not ready to ask before. Who am I without them? What part of me was I giving away? What did I hope they would fix in me? And beneath those questions there is often a deeper truth. You were never broken. You were only disconnected from yourself. True love is not always about staying together. It is about awakening. It is about the mirror someone holds up that reflects not just how you feel about them but how you see yourself. In this way, love becomes a path inward. Even when it ends, the path remains. Some of the deepest healing begins in the aftermath of love. When the noise fades and the distractions fall away, you are left with the raw truth of who you are. And if you allow yourself to feel then run to stay instead of chase, you will begin to hear something more honest. A voice inside that you may have forgotten. A presence that has been waiting for your attention. The loss of love can feel like a collapse. But sometimes things fall apart so that you can fall back into yourself. You do not need someone else to complete you. You need the courage to meet yourself fully. The more you return to who you are, the more you will recognize love not as a destination but as something that lives within you. The kind of love that does not leave when others do. The kind that stays because you have. Releasing misconceptions, understanding silence and emotional pain. In a world that praises constant communication and visible affection, silence is often misunderstood. When someone stops responding, We assume disinterest, neglect, or even manipulation. But emotional silence can come from something much deeper. It can be a symptom of inner overwhelm, not a sign of cruelty. In psychology, silence is often a defense, not an offense. Society teaches us that love must always look a certain way. Messages calls attention and presence. So when someone withdraws, we panic. We assume they no longer care. But human emotion is more complex than any rulebook. Some people go silent because they are trying to regulate intense feelings that words cannot yet express. Their quiet is not rejection. It is a search for balance. We need to release the belief that emotional distance always means emotional failure. People cope with pain in different ways. For some, stillness is survival. Before judging their retreat, consider had it may be how they process fear, grief, or confusion. By labeling them as cold or careless, we may miss the truth of their humanity. Understanding this helps shift the way we support others. Instead of forcing immediate answers, we can offer space, presence, and non-judgmental awareness. Instead of assuming the worst, we can ask our questions. What are they protecting? What are they afraid of? What might they be carrying in silence that they do not know how to name? Healing begins when we stop expecting emotional responses to fit a single mold. Not everyone knows how to cry or explain their wounds. But that does not mean they do not feel. It means they are still finding their voice. And sometimes the kindest thing we can do is stop interpreting their silence as absence and start seeing it as a language of pain, asking not to be fixed but to be felt. The awakening journey, turning heartbreak into inner strength. Every ending carries the seed of transformation. When love fades or someone walks away, it may feel like the collapse of something precious. But within that collapse is the invitation to awaken. Pain is not the opposite of growth. Often it is the doorway through which growth enters. The heart that breaks is the same heart that opens. Not all losses are meant to destroy. Some arrive to deepen your strength. This journey is not about forgetting or replacing. It is about becoming. Becoming someone who can hold sorrow without closing. Someone who can face emptiness and still choose to live with meaning. Wound may not heal overnight. But each moment of honesty, each breath taken in silence becomes part of your return. As you move through the pain, you begin to notice a shift. The questions change. You stop asking why they left and start asking who you are becoming in their absence. You stop seeking closure from and start giving compassion to yourself. This is the beginning of true power. Not power over others, but power within. Inner strength is not about pretending you are unaffected. It is about embracing the truth of your emotions without letting them define your future. When you allow yourself to feel everything in a rise, you become unshakable. You become whole, not because someone stayed but because you stayed with yourself. This is the real gift of heartbreak. It strips away illusions. It shows you where you were hiding and calls you into deeper honesty. And in that honesty you find your foundation. You remember your worth. And you learn that even in the absence of love from another, the presence of love within you can still light the way. In the silence they left behind, you found your voice. In the space they created, you met yourself. This was never the end. It was the beginning of who you were always meant to become.